All right, today I want to talk about what is to come. Now, I talk a lot about this because everything revolves around our daily lives on a material planet, in a material world. But it really isn't. I want to talk to you about the power that you hold that can change anything in our future. I've talked about predictions before, and I want to empower you. I want you to know that there is one power, and it is not in stone. It is a flexible, moving power, and you're a part of that. Now, if you're not feeling that right now, let's have a nice little chat, because I think you're going to like this. It'll help you go in a direction that will give you some ease in knowing that there's great purpose here and that we are heading in the right direction. We have big indicators of that. So let's talk about that right now. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. Why am I here to help you break through fears? All of the feelings that you have of a negative nature, anxiety, fear, sadness, all are not necessary. They are all a choice of ours, and you might say, I don't think so. Now somebody asked me. I can go with everything you say except for one, that we chose our roles here. So my question to you is, well, then how do you think that happened? Where'd you come from? How'd you plop here? And there's no thought or intelligence behind it? Of course there is. There's intelligence behind everything. Everything is all intelligent, equally intelligent, just in different forms. Right? A tree, you might say it's not intelligent. It's super intelligent. Look what it's doing. It's amazing. And it communicates with other trees. You are the same. Every cell in your body is a universe. It is. And we have galaxies and all kinds of things out there that are held together with an intelligence beyond human comprehension. And we're never going to know this because we're purposefully in a dense situation so we can play out density, unconsciousness. So yes, you chose rules. Otherwise, why would we be here? We wouldn't come here at all. If you believe there is another world out there that you continue to participate in, if you're not a human being, then you have to know that there's something else bigger and more powerful that is not here in this pain and struggle that we create. And we create it. So if you think that you just got plopped here, then there must be some intelligence that is punishing you or decided that you're not worthy. And that's just not true, because that one source is a loving God. All loving, unconditionally, non-judgmental. Everything else that we do is our choice to explore. And it is the one exploring every possible facet of itself, yet not divided, no separation. It's expressing its diversity. Our future is secure, because as long as we continue to go in the direction of consciousness, we will create an amazing world just through our own thoughts, beliefs, and actions. We are 100% in control of that. Otherwise, we just wouldn't have this existence here. What's the purpose? It's a game, it's a play. We get to choose the ending. Now, I assure you we're going the right direction. How do I know? I see big changes in the responses to the old problems. I see the density still fighting to keep control and it making very little sense to the rest of the world. Don't things seem just sort of ridiculous now, including our advertisements, and so many things out there just seem ridiculous? How people respond to each other. It doesn't even work in our minds anymore as making any kind of sense. Why? Because we're going to another space where we know there's another way of life that feels better. And so we're going with that. And the conflict, we realize, is with ourselves. Now, everything that you see that's happening is good news, because it is the dissolving of things that have never worked for us, but were part of our learning. We have gotten to the point where we are learning how to respond, and that the same old things that we've been doing, including how we work, how we live our lives, our relationships, what we're told is or is not proper. There are no rules. Why? The one creates everything. And so if you're disapproving of anything, then, well, you as a human are doing that, because the one doesn't judge. The one created that. And you are that, and I'm that. And so, he without sin cast the first stone. It won't be me, I'll tell you that. We all, no matter how high of a level you go into your awakening, will continue onward and onward. You never stop. So you may, just like if you followed Dolores Cannon, I was trained by her in hypnosis, and she was very, very adamant about saying that all the information she received was from higher realms that are always there for us, giving us information at all times. There's nothing tricky or weird about it, or some entity coming in, especially if it's of a loving nature and guiding us to be more loving and accepting of one another. Then obviously it's coming from a higher place. Now, of course, there are lower realms out there that we can tap into, but that would be because we are tapping into that. So we connect with where we are at. So be careful with that. Now, Dolores Cannon, she said she was in business for 45 years of hypnotizing people and regressing them, and then, of course, writing these books about what's really out there in the universe, what happens out there. And so she said if she had been told 45 years ago the things that she was told just before she died, she would have never believed it. She would have quit. She'd have thought it was insane, ridiculous. So we have to progress. You can't just take everything. It's like she always uses the baby. You can't give a baby, a steak. You have to give a baby milk, and then, soft foods, and then eventually, right? And that's no different for us. We are evolving. You just don't go from point A to point Z. And I always teach this because we came here for the lesson, the journey to get to these points, and it's never ending. Now, your response to everything is going to contribute to the vast ocean, and we get to determine whether it's polluted or we clean it up. And so whatever thoughts or beliefs you put in it are guiding us, and we are all responsible for that. So if you did take on a very challenging life, it's purposeful because you're supposed to master that. And it's not just you. So we are thinking, one-dimensional, that I didn't, get good parents and you did. We've been out there, and maybe not all of you believe in this, but energy cannot be created and destroyed. That is not a theory, that's a fact. And so we know that we were something else, which means I have been here maybe hundreds of times, maybe on other planets. I have distinct memories of being on other planets and another life here during wartime. I have very distinct memories of being in places that are definitely not on this planet, and you might too. Maybe you don't want to talk to people because they think you're weird. That's another weird thing that has to go too, is since when do we stifle people for talking about things that they know or have experienced or expressing? Why is that a bad thing? So we have to drop all these limitations. And the more we do this, the more you're going to see the world is shifting. You feel it? There's a big, massive shift happening right now, and it's all good. And now the things that normally would seem really bad, we're not as afraid of it. We're just saying, you know what? We're not allowing this. We're going to have to be the change, the positive change, and not responding in the old-fashioned way. Now, why do I say the future is going to be super bright? Because the fact that I passed 100,000 subscribers, and there's people out there with a lot more than that. They've been on YouTube a lot more, and I'm sure that they've seen the progression of people that you would never talk about some of the things we do, and now we talk about aliens. There are very few people out there that don't believe that there are other life forms out there in the trillions of galaxies that we can see, and of course beyond. Of course, if we're here, there are other planets with beings on it. How amazing is that? We have neighbors. Isn't that wonderful? And so we're going out of fear. And the more we go out of fear, we remove blocks. When we remove blocks and barriers, that's fear and limiting beliefs, and which you've been told from another human, all this conditioning to control us. We're saying, nobody controls me. Nobody controls my thoughts or my actions, and maybe there's some limitations that can be placed on us, but I always get a choice on how I react to absolutely everything, including what I think and believe. No one can ever take that away from you. So as we go outside of these realms, we're tapping into our amazing powers of intuition. We have the ability to see into the future. Those are all just probabilities, by the way, because that can change. You can change anything in the future, especially as a collective. If we decide that we're not going to live on a planet of, let's just say, violence and conflict and struggle, then we have to focus that 100% independently. In other words, you alone get to contribute to that oneness, because whatever you're thinking affects everyone. You don't get out of that. All right? So if you have some challenges in your life, the critical thing that we must think about right now is, how am I going to master this? How do I take that seems so wrong and go into a loving space and understand that I can see this completely different. I can see it as an opportunity to become great, to learn, to evolve, to master something and go into a higher frequency when it seemed impossible. Because I was thinking as a human being on a material planet, and that's what we are. That's not what we are. This is just a facade. It's an illusion so that we can play out things that we never get to experience on the other side. Now, if you're with me on this, you could absolutely turn anything in your life around, because if you see it differently, then the response of the universe will be different. The universe and God are one. And I always say the source, the one, because I have a tendency to not want to use the word God, because it has a, let's just say, it has a stigma to it that it's a limiting, angry, man in the sky with a beard. And I don't believe that God is anywhere near what we envision, because we always think of it has to be a person. Battery change. Okay, so we must start to think so outside the box now if we want to accelerate our great awakening. And that is, you know what, before you make a statement or believe anything, say, you know what, I don't know. I don't know. And where did I get that information? And stop and ask yourself, where did I get that information? Because that thought's limiting. If it's limiting, it certainly didn't come from a higher power. The higher power has no limitations. The further out you go outside of your body in awakening, the less you will believe those things or even have those thoughts. So if you have limiting thoughts, where do they come from? And if you're going into this evil and good and all that stuff, that's separation. That is not awakening at all. Everything is beautiful in one. We don't have to name it. And if you want to, if you feel comfortable doing that, of course you should do that. I'm not here to tell you what you should do. I'm just showing you that there is something so amazing and powerful available to you right now. We're going into it. And yes, we each do have our own individual realities, because you and I could be standing in the same room and feeling completely different, because I see the world differently, right? It is an individual choice. Otherwise, how can some people be saved and others aren't? Because their reality is a choice, all right? They get to choose to live in a world that may be unpleasant, because they're creating it, believing it, participating in it. And if you don't, you go into non-participation, you are now the change maker for the new world. And so you'll experience that, because you're going to be around it, you're going to attract people like that. And everybody else, they can go and complain and get involved in politics and all that other garbage they want. That is such the old way of doing things. So somebody left a comment about the New Age. I said, can we quit naming things? This is not New Age. We are just going into consciousness. We're going into what we are, which the Bible has told us forever. It's been in there, and we're just now starting to believe it. It's been there for centuries. What is wrong with humans? Well, we were programmed to be dense beings and evolve, and we're doing it. So we have a very bright future. Whatever you're seeing is the final testing to change our response. That's all it is, okay? So I don't want you to go into like, oh my gosh, we're not going to awakening, we're not going to new earth, who's going to come down and save us? No more material world thinking. It doesn't work that way. We go into different dimensions. Now, I've heard people say that we have 9 dimensions. Then there's 11, there's 12. It's unlimited, because humans are still trying to put a number on things. Yes, everything is mathematical. It's organized. Even chaos is organized. But there's no limits. We can't imagine that there's unlimited dimensions or what that even means. We go back to singularity, and is that even true? Because if we were never created, cannot be destroyed, so what is singularity? That continues on too. It's amazing, it's beautiful, there's something so huge out there. If you tap into it, you will experience it here. It's possible. It's not, I'm a human and that's out there. You can expand your consciousness out into this space, and you will be so connected to the intelligence of not just the material world, but the unseen world, where every expression in a body or beyond is a part of this, all at the same time, all happening. It's so mind-blowing, but I want you to be assured that no matter what you see, it's our final test to unravel the things that still need to be mastered and cleared up. That's all it is. Your participation in peace and unconditional love is required. Non-participation in that which is of a lower nature and does not serve the whole, in the most loving, giving, abundant way. Somebody asked me about money. I said, I don't have a problem with money. I love money. I love it. Money loves me. And the more I have, the more I can share, and I do. And you know what? I don't require a lot. But you know what? We can enjoy this planet and share and take care of one another. And so you don't have to worry about any structures that are going to control us. This is a loving, giving kind of planet that I'm talking about. So I'm going to let you go, and I hope that you will share these videos. I hope that you will subscribe. You can sign up for free videos here if you want to check out online businesses. I created online businesses to help other people, coaching and courses. In the description, if you go to landriaonkka.com, you can sign up for a free video series. I give you training. I give so much free stuff. It isn't funny. And, well, it is sort of funny. But also you can take some courses and go into the Miracle Circle, which is a monthly training that I have. You go into the training on my website, and you go live with me for 1.5 to 2 hours every month, and we go into a circle of light. It's pretty amazing. I've had some people share some pretty outstanding results of miracles because, there is power in numbers. Why? Because when the fraction turns more into the whole and comes together, it becomes more and more powerful, right? If it's fragmented, it's not light, but when we pull light together, we all shine our lights together, it becomes so bright and amazing and beautiful. And I hope that you will join us, because it's a wonderful way to live, and it's beautiful. It doesn't come without its challenges, but you just understand them better, and they become less painful, and then it's all worth it. It's all worth it. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.